So these are just memoirs into obscurity. We're not objects, but in order for us to be subject, we have to objectively triangulate ourselves in a certain position in order to express this nebulous absurdity. To conform it into a language model, we have to become a part, an aspect of that language, which seems absurd in itself. But we are not objects. And the transitory communication that takes a lifetime to express, that we have to be seen in all the self-assumed beauty of our youth, all the miraculous worship of the child as Messiah, or in some people's cases, the trash bin that your antiquity used you for, where they could have just as easily aborted you and thrown you into a trash bin, but instead they actualized, did ritual, and decided to use you as a toilet, as a dumping ground, as a place for all their lost, wanton ideas to be thrown into, and you became the object of their incendiary notion that they wished you would immolate, but you didn't. So they took turns in tearing you down and burning you away because you are a scar, are a manufacturer, are a manifestation of that total truth. And there is 3 people, including the person you think you are now, competing for the very space. You could say it's the id, ego, superego. That's one man's interpretation. Another man interprets this as the anima and the animus. But there is, in fact, a female and a male that really seem to have nothing to do with you as a personage at all, as a sovereign entity. But the triangulating aspect of this is that the greater your capacity is, the broader that stroke seems to be, where you have this triangular position. It is not a mere happenstance that you see these craft, these UFOs or ETVs or however you want to term it, USOs, there's so many names for it, that they triangulate, dialing in and out of realities and existence, perhaps going to that next state or stage where, unlike this one, the inverted pentagram or the pentacle, the 5 or the 6, which would be like the Star of David, or the repeating symbol signature that you see on a quantum scale, that you see within the seed or the flower or the tree of life. And then there is a cleaving off, right? And when you insist that you are, in fact, the person who is driving this ship, this Shemuel, if you will, which through antiquity, I can't find it again, but over a decade ago, I found that means this vessel, right? This holy vessel, that you are, in fact, the claimant, that this is your life, and you're going to have to take responsibility for those monsters that were doing everything in their power to subvert you and to take you away from the promise and the directive of being the effulgent one. And you must become this, you must claim this. And in doing so, you have to also, in a sense, claim the misdeeds and the breach of trust that these other entities, through this sort of triangular process, right? But remember, triangulation is a point, right? It's a place. And once you find your place, once you know thyself, Once you can take that energy up from your loins, or maybe it's stuck in your head, and put it right here in the center behind this ganglionic mass in your sun center, that is the sign of mastery. And when you can do this while you're in the, not in the performance as in staging an event, but in the performance of, you're put on a stage, placed on a stage, and no matter where you are, like when you're in a room alone, sitting on a couch, you're playing the silent soul observer, right? When you're among other people and you're up on that stage, you're more alone than you've ever been. And when you understand this, the capacities, the margins grow incredibly, and you're no longer held into a trifecta or a triangulation by mathematical scale or measure. You exist beyond that notional aspect.